Hey, what's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. This is Casey Graham. I'm the founder of Giving Rocket, and thank you so much for showing up today. This is a picture of me. I am the little kid in the blue shirt. But no, that's my son. He's Gage, and he's waving at everybody. Gage is awesome. He loves to play baseball and eat candy. He's a great kid. That's my wife in the yellow dress, and her name is Casey as well. And so just want to introduce you to my wife, Casey. So we are Casey and Casey. Yes, that is a true story. And that's my daughter, Darby, at the bottom of the screen. She is a beautiful little girl. She's my princess. And that's just my family. And that's a little bit about me, who I am. I'm the founder of the Rocket Company. And I'm excited to be on the call with you guys today and to really walk through something that I think can really help your church and help you guys succeed in the next coming 8 weeks to really have an explosive Easter. And we're going to be talking about the Easter offering today. So I'm looking forward to it. I co-authored a book called Funded and Free. If you do not have that book, you should grab it on Amazon. Buy a couple of them for your staff. Or for your board or elders or whatever. And the best way we've seen people do it is to actually read those together. And it's a very short book. We actually call it the toilet book for church finances. So you can just keep it.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, web events made easy.
It's very short, to the point, practical stuff for you and your church. And so just want to let you guys know about that. So let's get to it. I'm excited that you guys are here today. Before we jump in to the content, I want you to connect with us right now. If you are on Twitter, you can connect with us at the Rocket Co. At the Rocket Co. That is basically our concierge service for the Rocket Company. It's your customer service outlet. If you ever have customer service needs or you need anything, if you ever need to get in touch with us, one of the best ways to do it is to reach out to at the Rocket Co. But right now, you can follow, tweet to, say hello, and we got some people that'll be manning that, talking to you during this, answering your questions at the end. And then you can also like us on Facebook at it's facebook.com/ The Rocket Company. So we have the Rocket Company page. During the call, the hashtag we're going to be using to keep up with everything on Twitter will be Easter offering. You can see that at the bottom. So if you're a Twitter friendly kind of person and you're out there tweeting it up right now, just go ahead and give us a shout out and say, hey, I'm on the hashtag Easter offering call and I'm fired up. And if you're not fired up, you need to get fired up, because we're about to talk about something that's going to be extremely practical and useful and beneficial for you and for your church. And so we're about to jump right in. And before we do that, like we do on most of the stuff that we do, we want to start with prayer, and we want to ask that God would take all the different people that are listening from different parts of the country and around the world that are listening to this right now will be blessed, and that the content today will be useful, helpful, and beneficial for your church. So let me pray for us. Father, I want to thank you for every church leader that's on this call. Lord, my prayer is that their vision will be expanded, that everything that is said today will be helpful and beneficial for the people in their church. And God, they will live with a fully funded ministry. God, I pray that their ministries would be funded, that you would send more resources to their ministries, and today would be a part of that. Lord, we love you. Amen. So let's get right to it. Why should I do an Easter offering? Why should I do an Easter offering? Because that's what we're going to talk about today, is the Easter offering. And this is a big question, I guess. Why should I do that? I mean, we're going to have all these lost people showing up and all this kind of stuff on Easter, all these unchurched people. Why should I do that? Here, let me give you some facts. 96 churches recently raised over $6.5 million through the system I'm about to show you. 96 churches at the end of the year in December. We actually had over 300 participate, but only 96 reported back the results. And out of the 96, $6.5 million was raised. You can do the math on that. It's a little north of $60,000 per church. And so these are churches that took us up, and they reported back their numbers. Like I said, we had over 300, but 96 sent it back. And so the system works. And we have people, they come in and they'll say, oh my gosh, I've never done a special offering like this. And if you do a special offering in the way that is focused and you do it right, you can have significant results in your church. And then churches have been using this system for years. We created the special offering system, and kind of the pattern and the platform of it about 5 years ago. And we've been honing the different ins and outs of it for the last 5 years, coming up on 5 years. with churches all around the country in different parts of the world and everywhere. And we've seen that this is a system. You can put this system in play and it works and it produces results. And so this isn't something we just made up in a closet somewhere and said you should do it. This is something that real churches are doing it, and real churches are seeing real results with this. And so just to show you some of that, check this out. We just wanted to let you know we made our goal. This was somebody that used our system for their offering at Christmas. We set a big goal for our church, $15,000 for our Christmas offering. On December 16th, we received just over $9,000 toward the goal. But in the weeks following, check this out, we pushed it over the top of $15,000. So they met and exceeded their goal. And he says, thanks so much for encouraging and helping churches pursue this untapped potential for additional income. That is key words. Untapped potential for additional income. If you want to know right now why you should do a Christmas offering, it's this sentence. You have, an Easter offering. It's that you have untapped potential for additional income for what? For you? For a pay raise? Is it just for just so you have more money? Big bank account? No, for ministry purposes. And he said, I was very skeptical that we would reach this goal. It was a triple. That was the name that we gave it in the thing. And I'm confident we wouldn't have hit the goal if it weren't for you and through the planning and resources that help make this reality. I'm excited about next year's Christmas offering. Thanks. And that's Andrew O'Neill at a First Baptist Church. And that's awesome. That's one story. Check out this story. I wanted to fill you in on how our church did on the Christmas offering. This is an important sentence. We followed your Christmas offering coaching almost to a T. That is awesome. They followed the system. Our church is just under 2 years old, and we normally bring in about $16,000 to $18,000 a month. We set our Christmas offering goal at $20,000, thinking we would get it in around $15,000. In the month of December, we brought in $28,000 in regular tithes and an additional, did you hear that? $21,000 for the Christmas offering, totaling over $50,000. That's more than a home run. I just want to say thank you and let you know we are grateful to have been part and will continue to be a part of what you guys are doing. That's Tony Crane. Let's look at just a couple more. Check this out. Our special offering total is $32,667, which is just over 2 weeks of offerings. We received this offering on December 25th at our Christmas Day service. Thanks so much for your coaching. This number is almost 3 times what we would normally take. Love ya all. That's my favorite part of this whole thing. It makes me feel like I'm home in Alabama. Love ya all. Happy New Year. And that's Jeremy Mayhood at All Nations Church in Canada, which is cool. Last one. Thanks a lot. We are thrilled about what God did. Our total number is just under 59,000. And you can see they had about a third to half of their families participate. Our giving for December was also very strong. Exceeded our budget by $20,000. The most giving units in 1 month for the general fund. And today, check this out. A newer family from our newest campus gave us a $20,000 gift. Largest in a very, very long time. We are all struck by what the Lord is doing. Bless you. We appreciate your kingdom work. And that's my friend Jill at Grace Church. The reason we share these with you are to show you that God uses big days and big offerings for big things. And so the question, is why churches wouldn't do an Easter offering. I mean, if you see stories like that, you'd go, well, gosh, everybody should do an Easter offering. Everybody should do a Christmas offering. Those are big days, big opportunities. But here's why churches don't do it. Pastors are scared that unchurched people will be offended. Well, that's a legitimate concern. You're going to have people from all walks of life. You're going to have people showing up. You're going to have husbands that are bringing wives that haven't been to church and wives bringing husbands that haven't been to church. You're going to have people coming in off the street. Easter is a big day, and you've got a ton of people that are unchurched, and you're scared to death that if you do a special offering on that day that you're going to run everybody off. Well, here's the reality. We've done this for 4 years, and every single year pastors, when they get over this fear, because here's the deal. If you talk about the offering and do it in a positive way and do it right, it's your approach that matters. It's your approach, how you talk about it, what you say, what you don't say. All of that really matters. And what you'll find is you'll actually have more unchurched first-time givers that give to the offering. They will give if you will do it. And you will be surprised that it will be an evangelistic tool. And I'm going to show you how you can turn your Easter offering into a tool to get people to come back to your church. And so it is an unfounded fear, and it should be erased from your brain because we've seen it work time and time and time again. And pastors go, you know what? It wasn't like I thought. And we're not going to ask you to preach on money on Easter or anything like that. We're going to ask people to do 2 things. Here's what we're asking people to do. They go to your church. Bring a friend that day and bring a gift. Bring a friend and bring a gift. And that's it. And so Easter will just be the day when you do the collecting. A lot of you guys have never done an offering before. Pastors say, I've just never done it before. I've never even heard of this before. Why would I do this? Well, the reason why you do it is because big things happen on big days. And we've just seen that at Christmas and at Easter, you can do a big offering, but don't even have to make a big deal about it on the actual day. You do all of the work in advance, and you just use the Easter offering Sunday, use Easter Sunday as a place to say this is the day when everybody's going to bring their offering, a special offering, and connect it to the bigger picture. And then this is a big reason that we see a lot of pastors don't do it, is they just don't know what to do. They don't know what to do, and they don't know how to do this in such a way that it would be appropriate to do around Easter, and it would be appropriate to do at this time of the year. So I want to let you guys know on the call, I'm going to be telling you about this as we go through this. I'm so thankful you're part of Giving Rocket, and I know you'll love this. It's the Easter Offering Coaching and Resource Bundle is now available. And so that's actually not true for the public. We have not released this yet, but we have figured out for you over the last couple of years how to do these special offerings. And so we've created this Easter Offering Coaching, which is special coaching and a resource bundle with all the done-for-you resources. And I'll be, kind of referencing back to that throughout the call. And you can have an opportunity to jump in and grab that before everybody else can. We haven't even released it yet. And you can be a part of the early birds that get it. And the first 200 people that are going to jump in are going to get it for a very low cost, which is awesome. So the reason why it's such a good deal is that we figured it out. You're going to save time. I wrote all of the letters. So if you were like, man, I wish I could hire a professional copywriter to write letters and emails to my church. Well, I wrote them in my house, and I sat down and I spent time working through the whole strategy of how to get people to give to your church. And so you'll save time because I wrote the stuff, and then you'll have better results. The reality is we find that people that operate by the system or by a system, it doesn't have to be our system. It's by just a system, a way of saying this is the way we're going to do this and abiding by it, you will have better results, and you will be one of the stories on the next calls that we have. And so I want to teach you the principles, okay? So this is where the meat of this is. So we've talked a little bit about why to do it, why churches don't do it, but I want to give you the 5 essentials to an Easter offering. I want to talk with you about what you've got to do. What are the things that have to be present? And when I say an Easter offering system, when I talk about it in such a systematic way, what is that for your church? And I'm going to break this down, and I'm going to make it into layman's terms and just say, here's what this means for your church. But there's 5 essentials to pulling off any special offering. There's 5 essentials that you got to do. And so this applies for any time you're doing any type of special offering. So let's get to the first one. The first one is ownership. Someone has got to be in charge. Someone has got to be in charge. Now, here's the deal with ownership. Ownership is very important because when somebody is in charge, things get done. One of the biggest things that we see happen in churches is that when there's not ownership, right there, ownership, that people say we need to do a Christmas offering. We need to do a special offering. We need to increase giving. But guess what, guys? We, W-E, we, does not have an office. Jim has an office. Tom has an office. Joey has an office. Jim, Jane, whoever you can think of with a J name, they have offices. Somebody has got to be in charge and say, I am the point person for this. I'm going to be in charge, and I'm going to be the person that does this. And when you put somebody in charge, or when you assume the ownership and the responsibility, here's what we found. If you will own the outcome of the offering, you will not be owned by the outcome of a bad offering. If you own it on the front end and say, I am owning this, your finances will not own you. I've seen it in my personal life. My family, we just said, you know what? We're going to own our money. Our money is not going to own us. And that's what you can do with a special offering. The first thing you got to do is you got to find somebody that's going to be in charge. And we did this webinar today for a reason. And the reason why is that you have time enough right now this week to decide who is going to own our Easter offering, who is going to do that, and who is going to be responsible for creating the system that I'm about to tell you and creating the system throughout the month of March of this year and doing it. Who's going to be in charge? Who's the point person? Who has something that says it was a success or failure based upon them being in charge of it? So the great thing is somebody can own it, But we have created all the on-demand coaching videos. If you want to be a part of the Easter coaching, it's all on demand. So video 1, the Easter offering overview, we give you all the pre-work. Video 2, we give you the step-by-step calendar, the 5-week Easter offering process. Video 3, how to plan the Easter offering, Easter Sunday with a big offering. That's a huge one. How do you do Easter offering on the Easter Sunday with all these people in the room, and how do you do it? That's a whole coaching video. And video 4 is the follow-up plan from Easter, because what you noticed in all of the stories we get back is people say the follow-up is where we really increase the giving, not just the day of taking up the offering, but the follow-up the week after is huge. And so if you say, I want to own this, but you don't know what to do, then you'll be a part. If you want to just take the process I'm going to teach you today and fill in the gaps and do it your own style, and you don't want to be a part of all the stuff we've already done for you, that's totally cool as well. And so the action item is today, you got to figure this out. Decide who is going to wake up thinking about the Easter offering. I don't know how to make it in any more of a layman term than that. Who is going to wake up in the morning and decide, and think about the Easter offering? You don't need a bunch of thinking for this. You need to go, who would be the best at driving the process? Now, they don't have to be the senior pastor, but if you are the senior pastor and you have to take the bull by the horns, well, you do it. But if it's an executive pastor, if it's somebody else, I suggest it's somebody on a paid staff. Don't give it to a volunteer, and a team cannot do it. It's got to be one person with their name that says, I am going to do the Easter offering, and I'm going to be in charge of it. So that's step 1, ownership. Somebody's got to wake up thinking about it, but with our Easter offering coaching that we're going to provide that you can jump into and be a part of if you want to, you don't have to figure out everything on your own, and I can help you with that. So this is the second thing you've got to have, is clarity. Clarity. You've got to decide a clear purpose for where the money will go. You have got to have a clear purpose for where the money will go. And what I mean by that is, why in the world are you doing this offering? Are you doing it just so you have more money? Well, if you're doing it just so you have more money, it's a bad reason to do it. You need to be doing an offering because you want more money for what? For ministry. And so you've got to have a clear purpose for where the money will go and tell people here's where the money will go. Because what we found is that clarity always increases generosity. And the clearer you make where the money is going to go, the more people will give to it. Now, you don't have to pledge all the money away, that you're going to give it all away to charity. That's not enough of that. You can say, this money is going to go to our operational budget, and here's how we're going to spend it inside the operational budget, inside of our regular giving budget. So I'm going to give you some good examples and some bad examples of clarity. Let's start with the bad ones. A lot of churches will say, well, we just want to have more money for staffing. Well, if you tell a donor that, if you tell somebody that's sitting in your church that, guess what? They don't care if you have more staff. It does not benefit them at all, and it's not clear at all. How much staff? What area are you going to staff? All of those kind of questions are left unanswered. Another bad example is, we would love to give some money to our community. Well, what I found is this. People don't know what that means. And people don't know what it means to say, we're going to love our community, or we're going to give to our community. No. Here's how you turn these bad examples of clarity into good examples of what your Easter offering is. 50% of the Easter offering will go to fund 2 new part-time children's ministry positions. Why this is good is because it says 50%, so they know that 50 cents on every dollar of this specific Easter offering will go to fund 2, again, very specific, new, people like new, part-time, so they know it's part-time, children's ministry positions. So everybody in the children's ministry cares about this. They love it. And here's what I know about even people that don't. They know that it's a good idea to have a good children's ministry in churches. And so having it specific like that shows people, and they'll say, yeah, I'll give to that. That makes sense. I would love for my kid to have proper staffing. Okay? 50%, here's the second one. 50% of the Easter offering will go to the Women's Nest to help buy supplies for battered women. Well, that's way different than we're going to give money to the community. You're very specific, and you're saying half the dollars that come in are going to go out of this church building. Hey, you're going to give away half of every, and that's how I would just tell them every time I stood up. Guys, we're going to give away half of the money, and it will go to the Women's Nest, and then that's going to help people buy supplies for battered women. And here's what I know. People care about that. Women will give to this, and people care about it. They see and they go, man, that's something that I understand. I know I don't want any woman to be battered, and they will give to that. That is how you create clear objectives. So the first thing you got to do is you got to say, hey, who's going to own it? But the second part you got to do is walk through how are you going to get these objectives. Now, in our coaching videos that I've done for you, that if you join the Easter coaching, and if you join the Easter coaching, get the resource bundle, I'll walk your staff through. You put the videos in, and I'll help you guys kind of pull down some, how to do this more than just telling you, this. Because I know you have a lot of questions when it comes to how to making this clear for your church. It doesn't have to be 50-50. It could be 10% goes here, 90% there. It can be 10 things of 10%. I don't suggest that, but if you want to, it can. I suggest 2 to 3 different places where you show them where the money is going to go, and it really helps. Okay? So your action. Second action is to decide ASAP where the money will go and tell your people. Start the process of telling your people. Okay? So hit us up on the hashtag. If you're on Twitter, continue to tweet out to us. Use the hashtag Easter Offering. Hit us up on Facebook at The Rocket Company. And if you have questions, go ahead and post those, because after this, I'm going to be available for personalized coaching for 1 hour on Twitter and for Facebook for your specific questions. And so you can start posting them there right now as we go, and I will help you with your specific stuff. So let's talk about the third thing. The third thing you've got to have is you've got to have a step-by-step plan. You have to have a step-by-step plan to communicate clearly with people. And so this is just intentionality. This is where churches break down and they don't do it. So having an Easter offering timeline, something like this, where we say, here's what we're going to do 4 weeks before Easter. 4 weeks before Easter, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 weeks before Easter, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 weeks before Easter, we're going to do 1 week before Easter. Here's the letters that's got to go out. Here's the email that's got to go out. And 1 week after Easter, here's what we're going to do. And when you have that specific of a process and say, here's what we're doing, 4 weeks out, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, the week of, and then right after, and you have a list of things that you're going to do, that is how you create an intentional strategy. And this is where the big offerings come from. Everybody, every pastor I know, listen, I get so upset about this. And it's not because I feel, I don't know why I get upset. I get upset because I just seen it work in so many churches, that you don't have to have a dynamic communicator or a TV type preacher. There's somebody that's going to stand up and cry on the stage and make big promises of God dropping Cadillacs in people's front yards to have a big offering. You don't have to do that. It doesn't have to feel manipulative. It doesn't have to be that way. If you want to raise money in your church, you can do it in such a way that is systematic, that takes a 4-week process that leads up and hits people in multiple different formats. And if you hit people with in their inbox, in their mailbox, if you speak on the weekend, and if you do that and you take time and you give people time and let them know that the Easter offering is coming, if you do that, and then if you follow up after the offering is over, that's an intentional strategy, and that wins every single time. It beats the big let's cry on stage and tell everybody that they need to give, and if they don't give, guilting them into stuff. Listen, I was in a meeting one time where somebody said add a 0. And if you add a 0 and you give your car away, God's going to give you all this. Listen, you don't have to do all that. Don't buy into that. Just be faithful at doing a systematic approach that's intentional, that lets people know here's when the offering is coming, here's why we're taking up the offering, and we want you to be a part. And if you consistently do that, that beats bravado and big vision every single time. And so that's how you process it. That's what it means. And so we have created the complete checklist for your Easter offering. We have a step-by-step checklist of exactly what you need to do for your offering. And that's involved in the resource bundle that we've done for you. The other thing that's involved in it is that we have the Done For You communications kit. So all of the letters that you're going to be sending out, even if you don't do this with us and you don't do the letters that we've written for this Easter, I've written specifically for this Easter. You can see it says bringer plus giver equals eternal impact. I wrote a whole thing about bring a person plus bring a financial gift, and that equals eternal impact. And really tying it into all of your emails, all of your videos, and all of your communications, the letters that go out. I've got it's a Done For You kit. So I've written 4 letters and 4 emails, and there's 5 Giving Talk scripts that are specific for this Easter if you want to be a part of it as well. And so the other thing as well is that you've got to have media. So make sure, again, if you don't use this, that's fine. But we have done the media for you. And we've got the logos and all that kind of stuff. You want to brand your Easter offering. Make sure it has a look. Make sure it has a feel. And this is what our Easter offering logo is. It's very simple. and it's been used last year. It'll be used this year. It'll be used for years to come. And it's very good to keep the same brand year after year after year so people know what's coming. Again, if you want to do something better, if you want to do something different, totally understand. But this is already done for you. We paid a designer and had it all done as well. We've got the offering envelope templates. So you want to make sure you have a special offering envelope when you do a special offering and you do a big day. So you want to print those out. We've got these, and again, this is going to be a part of the resource bundle if you want to jump into that. And this is a video you get if you want to be, if you want to see kind of how the videos work. Well, the video is over. Here it is. Well, guys, I just showed you that just so you can have a picture of making sure, again, if you want to do it on your own or whatever, but make sure you add media into this, make it a big deal, make it into something where people can connect, not just with you saying we're going to do an offering, but giving them all that stuff. And that's all part of the intentional strategy. You've got to have a strategy. Again, you don't have to use our strategy, but you've got to use somebody's strategy or make up your own to say, here's what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, and make sure all this stuff gets done in between. The fourth thing is this, is boldness. Boldness. So you've got to be willing to ask people for money on Easter. So what I've seen in so many churches is that, you know, we'll have somebody own it. We've got clarity of what the money's going to go to. We're going to be intentional. Here's what we're going to do with the intentionality. Here's our plan. But when it comes down to it, if you don't ask people for money, they're not going to give it. So you've got to know when and how to ask people for money. But what I found is you need to ask people for money all the way leading up to Easter Sunday, and then you can just barely mention it on Easter. You don't have to preach about it. You just say, guys, we've been talking about this. If you're here for the first time, man, you get to watch what we're going to do for you. We don't want something from you. We want to do this for you. We're taking the money because we want to help out so for you, for your family, so you have a place, so your kids have proper staffing, so you can see what we're doing into the community and why we take up money. And so asking for money, you've got to be willing to make the ask and do it in an appropriate way on Easter Sunday. And so having a flow of service and already having that figured out is huge. You can see that I've got a suggested flow of service. That's part of the resource bundle as well. It's just I'll walk you through how to do the service flow. You can see it down there, the Easter offering suggested service flow, the welcome, song 1, song 2, senior pastor, use the Easter offering giving talk, introduce himself, explain what will happen this day, talk about the 2 offerings on Easter, the regular giving offering and the other offering. And so you can see as it goes down, and we created the entire flow, and we've used this service flow format in churches for years. And made it better and better, and just said, here's exactly how you can craft it in such a way where it works really well to take up a big offering on a big day. So here's my question. The action for you is you got to plan your worship service flow with 2 offerings received. You've got to plan your worship service flow with 2 offerings received, and you got to figure out how are you going to take up 2 offerings. You go, what do you mean take up 2 offerings? Well, anytime you do a special offering, the best thing to do is separate it out. Do not just take up one offering. So you need to have a regular giving offering and then a special gift offering. And what we found is that when you separate those out, but you can't do this all the time, maximum 3 times a year. But we suggest at the best about 2 times a year. Christmas and Easter, they work fantastic. And you say, this is the Easter offering, here's the Easter offering envelope, and you got to take it up at the, what we suggest is taking up the regular offering earlier in the service and taking up the big offering at the end of the service. And I go through, in the coaching, I go through a bunch of how to do it in a way that makes it feel good and, all that kind of stuff. But you got to plan your service and go ahead and start thinking about that now. How are you going to create the flow to do that in a way that is palatable for people that are unchurched in your church? So the 5th essential that's in every single offering that I've ever done is responsibility. And the responsibility is this, is to build disciples, not donors. So here's the deal. When you get a gift from somebody, that's not the end, that's the beginning. And so the best time to start what a disciple is, to be a disciple, Jesus was close to his disciples. Jesus had a relationship with his disciples. You can't do discipleship in a classroom. Discipleship happens life on life, people on people, and starting relationships. And so when somebody gives a gift, you should be driving them into a relationship, not with you if you're the pastor. You can't meet with everybody, but they should be connected with somebody. And so what's your follow-up process going to be? And here's one of the things that we've seen is just doing a follow-up email. Now, again, I've written this for everybody that's going to do the Easter coaching, which is awesome. But you just a follow-up email to say thank you. We appreciate you giving. We appreciate that. And a follow-up email for people that missed and say you missed. And here's an opportunity. Here's the link. Go give online. The other thing is to have a giving talk for the week after the offering. And so one of the things I found about doing the week after a big offering is that you've got to carve the crowd out in two ways. You've got to say, number one, for 70% of the people in this room gave something last week, and I want to speak to the 70% of you that gave something last week. Now, that doesn't mean you're getting on to the 30% that didn't, but you can't just stand up and say, I want to thank our church. Everybody did such a great job last weekend. Well, that's not true. You want to have a giving talk that is tailored to thanking the people that actually did give. And then for the 30% of people who didn't give, you want to invite them to still be a part, and they still can. Because what we found is if you extend your big day, your Easter offering, and you would do a giving talk the week after that focuses on thanking the people that give but bringing people in who didn't, it works really well to get the people who missed or they were out of town, or they just forgot or they weren't prepared to give. And so we've also created this tool for you, and I want you to use this Easter. Regardless if you do the Easter offering coaching, you can grab this. It's called the What Happens When You Give, and you can use it as an evangelism tool. What Happens When You Give is very simply just a follow-up booklet that has an envelope, and it's got a note where you can send a handwritten note, and it's got a booklet that's inspirational and uplifting in it. And so you can send these, and they're very low cost, and you can send these to people that gave for the first time on Easter. Regardless if you use our system or not, you need to order these. Here's why. When is the last time somebody went to church and they chipped in on a big day like Easter and they were lost, and let's say they put $20 in the bucket to make themselves feel better because they felt like it was the religious right thing to do was to give some money, and they got a handwritten note with an inspirational small little booklet that speaks into their life? When is the last time they received that? Never. They think that the church just wants money from them. But if you follow up and you thank them and you send a handwritten envelope and a handwritten note with this little booklet, and it's all one little kit. There's three things you get. You get the booklet, you get the envelope, and you get the little note to handwrite on it. And when you do that, people will love it. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine this? Your quarterly contribution statements are coming up in March. I would send this instead of just a contribution statement that everybody's going to throw away. Put the contribution statement inside the booklet and say, this is what your giving has done. And it's all inspirational, and it doesn't ask them for more money. It just tells them that God is happy with them, that we are built to be generous. And so you can see the website down there, whathappenswhenyougive.com. If you're interested at all in those are great follow-up items for Easter, but they're also great for your quarterly contribution statements, and they're a great tool. We have tons of people that are a part of Giving Rocket that are using these. And so the special promo code is Easter, all caps, and it'll save you 10%. So we keep those things as dirt cheap as we can keep them so that you guys can order them by the cases and send them to your givers. And we've seen the return on investment for people that get these, that give the second time. Well, yeah, people are going to give more when they get one of these because people always do what's rewarded. And so that's the overarching thing of responsibility, is just to follow up and start building relationships and sending stuff to people, not just getting the gift and saying nothing. So that's the 5 steps. Now I'm going to go into some of the questions that we get about this stuff and what you might be asking. I'll tell you a little bit about the Easter bundle, and then we're going to have David Walters on the phone, who's a pastor, who we're going to ask him some questions, and he can speak into doing this and having done big days a lot of times and speaking into what happens on these big days. And so you might be asking, how does this fit with the Giving Rocket Core Coaching Program? Module number 8 of the Core Coaching Program talks about special offerings. But the Easter Offering Coaching and Resource Bundle is a specific product we offer to help churches have the most successful Easter offering possible. And the reality is that I write these based upon what's happening right now, what we're learning right now, and it is a special program that we do for Christmas and for Easter as well. And so if you want all the goodies and all the extra stuff, you can sign up and join. But if not, Module 8 of a core coaching program, it could give you all the special offering stuff. And we talk about the 3 kinds of offerings in Module 8 that you use: the Christmas, the Easter, and the vision offering that happens at different times during the year. And so you'll get resources and all that. But like I said, this is separate because this is time-based and specific-based coaching for this year, for right now. Okay. The other one is, how much does it cost? The coaching in the bundle. Well, the coaching, we're going to charge $500, graphics $300, the communication. And by the way, you're like, why $300 for graphics? Well, we paid more for that for people to create it. It's expensive for people to create the graphics. The communications, $200 for all the letters and all that kind of stuff. And so it's $1,000 of just stuff that we've created, of the coaching, of the communication, of the graphics, and everything. And so we're going to do it for $299 for the first 200 churches. Okay. And so the reality is this: we release this tomorrow to 40,000 people on our mailing list. But we want you, if you're a part of Giving Rocket, to go ahead and be a part of getting it at a dirt cheap price. And this is very inexpensive, and you'll get everything, and you get it immediately. And so I have to ask for forgiveness, though. We haven't done this before, but we're going to send you the link of where to go, and you'll get the link of where to go. We didn't have time to create like the pretty page with all the stuff on it. So you'll just have to go there, and if you want the stuff and you trust us, get it. If not, it's not very pretty yet. And so that will come out tomorrow. But this is for the first 200 churches at this price, and then we're going to jack the price up. So you want to go ahead and jump in at therocketcompany.com/Easter. Therocketcompany.com/Easter if you want to get that. And you've got 24 hours to make the decision and to jump in. So we will send you the link, but you can go there directly right now if you want to as well. So can you guarantee the offering results? The answer is yes. We can absolutely do it. If you don't raise more than $299, we're going to refund your money. Again, I don't know how to be any clearer than that. It's real simple. You put $299 into it, you don't get $299 out of it, email us, let us know, and we'll refund your money. No shenanigans, no strings attached. A lot of you guys have been around us long enough to know that we don't play games. It's real simple. If we want the stuff to work, and if it doesn't, we have a refund policy. You can get your money back. I don't want you to be stuck in anything you're not happy with. When do I have access to the coaching and the resources? You're going to get immediate access to everything included: the coaching videos, the done-for-you communication kit, the done-for-you media kit, and all of that stuff after your purchase is complete. So you can have everything this afternoon. You can have it all, and all the training videos and everything, to go ahead and get started in the process and get all of the special coaching stuff, the videos, the communications, and all of the media, if you want that as well. So I want to bring onto the line right now Pastor David Walters. He's the good-looking guy in the picture at the Vine Church in Brazelton, Georgia. And David has done tons of big offerings, and David has become more than a customer. David is a friend. And today is a big day for David because Georgia is recruiting players to their team, and Alabama, which is my school, is recruiting players to our team, and it's National Signing Day. So we've been bantering back and forth on Twitter a little bit because we're friends and we are enemies one time a year when we play each other. So David, welcome to the call.
Hey man, thanks. It's good to be here, buddy.
Yeah, so when you hear about all this big day stuff and Easter offerings, Christmas offerings, and I know you've done some vision offerings when you just had to raise money for visionary projects.
Right.
Talk to pastors, from a pastor to a pastor. What's the thing that you see? What's the number one thing you would just tell them that would help them be successful in this process of having a big day and doing a big offering?
Casey, this is actually not very practical, but something that could lead to practical and beneficial breakthrough for the church, and that is simply to make the decision today to just do it, to go ahead and make the plunge and commit right now to take responsibility. I don't know if they've heard that before. I think they got that from you a little bit earlier today. To take the responsibility and to do it. There is, in my opinion, one major barrier for financial breakthrough in churches, and that is fear. And you already addressed that with some of the myths or some of the reasons why people would not do an Easter offering. And I am challenging pastors today, whatever title you have being on the line, to go ahead and make the decision right now to do an Easter offering. Get convicted about it. Pray about those causes and the clarity of why you're raising this money, and you'll see passion grow within you for this Easter offering. But make the decision right now before getting off this call to go ahead and do it.
That's awesome. David, on the flip side, what's the thing that you see that maybe mistakes that you've made or mistakes that you see other pastors make in doing big days and doing special offerings? What's the biggest mistakes that you see pastors make?
Well, I would just say, the same conviction that we had, that I'm trying to get pastors to have in making the decision to do that, to kind of then carry over that same conviction to work and trust a plan. And Casey, you know this, but until we started working with Giving Rocket, we had never hit a goal for one of our big days in one of the offerings that we were taking. And our church is approaching our 6th Easter, and we've taken multiple big day offerings, and we never hit a goal until we started working with Giving Rocket. And that was because of either just a lack of concern, lack of intentionality, or lack of a plan and wisdom and trusting the experts. And what we've learned in the process is that the biggest mistake that we could have is thinking that we can trust ourselves with an unproven system or not even have a system. And so I would encourage the pastors and the leaders that are online today to trust the systems that work. And since we've been working with Giving Rocket, we have hit every single one of our financial goals. And that's not because we've lowered the goals. It's because we've worked the system. And when you work the plan that is trustworthy and true, then you'll see the results of that.
David, one other question is on the fear of having lost people, disconnected people, unchurched people in the room as it relates to Easter. That's a real fear, and if I was a pastor, I would have the same fear.
Sure.
Can you speak a little bit to just that, and how maybe in the past, even when you've done capital campaigns and had big days and stuff, how have you created an environment where people feel welcomed but not pressured?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I would say is just that there are things that are offensive to people, and we even know that the gospel is offensive to people. And so on Easter, the major proclamation is the gospel, the good news of Jesus, that he not only died for our sins, but that he came back from life. And the Bible tells us that's going to be offensive. So just know that on any given Sunday, there are going to be things that possibly offend people, even the best news possible, that they have a gift of salvation waiting for them when they have faith. But I do think there are some just very practical ways that you can avoid offending people with the subject of money. And one of those is just to be right up front with people, to clearly articulate what's going to happen in the service. And when you can do that, it's going to lower the anxiety level when you get to that moment of the Easter offering. The second thing that I would do is that when you're talking to them, especially when you're talking to first-time guests or non-Christians, unchurched people that are there, is to acknowledge the fact that maybe some of them have been hurt by the abuse of the subject of money. And to go ahead and address some of those concerns that a person might have when they come into church about hearing the subject of money, and then to lower the anxiety even further by not pressuring them, as you talked about earlier, not challenging them to put another zero at the end of the amount that God's laid on their heart, and to also address the very specific individuals that you'll have in the room who might find it difficult to give at the time of Easter, the single moms, or the people that might be unemployed, or the people that have taken a pay cut, things like that. And so I'd just say to confront those things that you perceive people might have issue with right from the beginning, right from the start, or especially right when you're about to take the offering.
That's awesome, David. David, last question. We have about 30 seconds to answer it. Would be on doing a systematic approach versus just a
Mhm.
stand up and tell everybody we're going to do it approach. How have you seen the difference in results of doing systems versus kind of the silver bullet mentality?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, we've been working with Giving Rocket on 3 big days since we started working with Giving Rocket, and we've hit our goal every time. And it's the difference between the two was primarily that most of the system that we were using before was verbal communication on a few Sundays leading up to that day. And the other aspects of communication and the clarity of the communication, especially what the project is for and how much that goal amount is, the second offering that day makes all the difference in the world. And I'm convinced that that is exactly why we've hit our goal each time.
That's awesome. Well, David, thank you so much for being on the call. And I always just like to have pastors, real pastors speaking to real pastors. And guys, we'll put it on the Facebook page where you can follow David, and on Twitter we'll tweet out David's email. Excuse me, not his email account, his Twitter account. And you're more than welcome to go to his church and give a donation for Easter for his Easter offering. It'd be awesome. So thanks for being
We'll
on the
take
call.
it. Okay. Hey, you're welcome.
All right. Last but not least, guys, is that we didn't tell you this, but we wanted to give you live access for questions and answers for 1 hour happening right now at The Rocket Co. You can tweet us or go on the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Rocket Company. And I am going to be here at the computer answering questions, anything you need. I am yours. So I would love to answer your questions, any specific stuff you have about the Easter offering, why you should do it, the system, the process, anything you need at all. Just tweet us at The Rocket Co. or go to the Facebook page and follow up. If you're going to join, which we've already had people jump in, but therocketcompany.com/Easter is where you get all of the few hours of coaching. It's going to be 4 different coaching videos. You get all the done for you communications and all the different graphics and package and all the details. You can go there and see all the details at therocketcompany.com/Easter. We release that tomorrow to 40,000 pastors, so you might want to go ahead and jump over and get it for $2.99 before we will jack the price up heading into next week or when we hit 200. So love you guys, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be on this coaching call with you today. And if you need anything ever, remember, at The Rocket Co. or facebook.com/The Rocket Company. I'm going to be there right now answering questions. Look forward to seeing you online. Hope you have a great day.